Welcome to our new episode, The Knights Templar, The Secret Legacy. In the shadows of medieval Europe, where kings plotted and churches whispered secrets, an order rose that would shake the foundations of power. They were not just knights, they were guardians of knowledge so profound that its echoes are felt even today. This is the untold story of the Knights Templar and their secret legacy. Chapter 1. Origins of the Templars. In the heart of Jerusalem, where the stones whispered secrets older than kings and the air was heavy with faith and blood, a small band of knights swore an oath that would echo through centuries. They were not just soldiers, they were guardians of knowledge, power, and secrets the world was not yet ready to understand. It was the year 1119. Jerusalem, freshly scarred from the First Crusade, remained a city of tension and danger. Pilgrims traveled under constant threat of bandits, political upheaval, and religious strife. Amid the chaotic streets, Hugues de Payenne, a knight of quiet determination, surveyed the Temple Mount. He was a man of purpose. His eyes reflected both faith and calculation. "We are not here merely to fight," he told the 9 knights gathered around him, forming the embryonic order that would become the poor fellow soldiers of Christ and of the Temple of Solomon, later known simply as the Templars. "We are here to protect, yes, but more importantly, to guard what others cannot see. Secrets that could shape kingdoms, destroy empires, or elevate mankind itself." The Temple of Solomon, long destroyed and rebuilt, was a place of legend. Ancient scrolls claimed that hidden beneath its stones lay relics of unimaginable significance: the Ark of the Covenant, fragments of the true cross, and sacred manuscripts. To most, these were myths. To Hugues and his knights, they were a calling. The Templars' first base was humble, little more than a fortified house near the temple. But within its walls, a radical idea took root. A combination of monastic discipline and military skill, a force unlike any before. They took vows of poverty, chastity, and obedience, yet their vision was not limited to the battlefield. Knowledge, strategy, and loyalty were equally vital weapons. The order's structure was revolutionary. Knights, sergeants, and chaplains each had defined roles, yet the council operated on principles of consultation and consensus. Discipline was strict, yet innovation was encouraged. They practiced a code of ethics that intertwined faith with practical wisdom, a balance that would later inspire modern governance. Early missions were perilous. Pilgrims traveling to sacred sites were attacked by bandits, rival forces, and remnants of hostile factions. The Templars became both sword and shield. Yet even in the heat of battle, Hugues insisted on secrecy. "Remember," he said before a march to protect a caravan from Acre to Jerusalem, "our mission is not merely to fight for the living, but to guard the unseen. What we protect today may decide the fate of Europe tomorrow." The knights also began to understand that power lay not only in arms, but in knowledge and strategy. They developed early methods of intelligence gathering, mapping trade routes, and monitoring political movements. Their network extended across the Mediterranean, with allies and informants in both Christian and Muslim territories. Every fortress, every patrol, every coded message was a step toward building an order that transcended the ordinary military hierarchy. By 1129, the Templars gained official recognition from the Council of Troy, sanctioned by Pope Honorius II. Their small order had transformed into a force sanctioned by both God and king, a combination of spiritual authority and military power. Donations poured in, lands, money, and privileges. With these, they built the foundations of an empire that would stretch across Europe and the Holy Land. But the heart of the order remained the temple itself. Beneath its stones, in secret chambers accessible only to high-ranking knights, lay scrolls written in ancient languages, maps etched with symbols, and instructions encoded to protect knowledge from unworthy eyes. Rituals were conducted to ensure that every knight understood not only loyalty to the order, but also the sacred weight of the knowledge they guarded. Initiates were sworn to secrecy under the gravest oaths, for betrayal meant not only death, but the potential collapse of entire kingdoms. The first decades of the Templar Order were defined by this dual mission, to fight and to guard. Knights ventured across hostile lands, but also dedicated themselves to scholarship, construction, and financial innovation. They built early hospitals for pilgrims, fortified strategic locations, and developed one of the first medieval banking systems. Pilgrims could deposit gold in France and withdraw it safely in Jerusalem. Even at this early stage, the Templars' reputation inspired awe and envy. Their combination of faith, martial skill, and secret knowledge made them both revered and feared. Across Europe, whispers circulated. Men of God who commanded armies, controlled wealth, and knew secrets even kings dared not inquire about. And so the foundation of the Knights Templar was laid. A brotherhood sworn to a sacred cause, bound by faith and secrecy, destined to rise in power and to confront challenges that would test their resolve, their loyalty, and the very limits of human understanding.
Little did the world know, this small group of knights in Jerusalem would, over the next 2 centuries, reshape the medieval world, influence kings and popes, guard secrets that could alter history, and leave a legacy that continues to inspire conspiracy, legend, and fascination even today. The world does not yet understand the power of knowledge, Hughes whispered to his closest lieutenants as the sun set over the Temple Mount, but one day it will. Chapter 2: Rise to Power. By the mid-12th century, the Knights Templar had evolved from a small band of protectors into a formidable force that would reshape the medieval world. Their numbers had grown from a handful of knights in Jerusalem to hundreds of warriors stationed across Europe in the Holy Land. Yet their true power was not just in steel and armor, it was in strategy, wealth, and intelligence. The Council of Troy in 1129 had granted the Templars official recognition from Pope Honorius II, legitimizing their dual mission to defend Christendom and guard the sacred secrets entrusted to them. Donations from kings, nobles, and wealthy merchants poured in. Lands, castles, and gold became the backbone of an empire built on faith and secrecy. In Paris, they established the Temple, a fortified complex that became the heart of European operations. Its walls, thick and imposing, were both a fortress and a treasury. Beneath its floors lay vaults of treasure, manuscripts, and relics, each secured with complex locks and secret codes. The temple was more than a military headquarters. It was a vault of knowledge. Across the Mediterranean, the Templars fortified strategic locations in Acre, Jerusalem, Tyre, and Jaffa. Each fortress was engineered with precision. Towers overlooked narrow passes. Walls incorporated hidden chambers, and secret tunnels allowed escape or surprise attacks. These fortresses were designed not just for defense, but for control, enabling the Templars to dominate key trade and pilgrimage routes. The Order's banking system was revolutionary. Pilgrims traveling to the Holy Land could deposit their wealth with a local Templar preceptory in France and receive a document, essentially a letter of credit, allowing them to withdraw funds safely in Jerusalem. This innovation not only ensured pilgrim safety, but cemented the Templars' reputation as trusted financiers. Nobles, merchants, and even monarchs began to rely on their services. Soon, the Templars' vaults in Paris, London, and Rome held more wealth than most European treasuries. But money alone did not make them powerful. Their true strength lay in knowledge. The Templars collected maps, manuscripts and secret documents from conquered territories, trade networks, and pilgrims. Hugues Tepeyan's successors understood that information about geography, politics, and enemies was as deadly a weapon as the sword. High-ranking knights trained in code-breaking, cryptography, and intelligence gathering. Every message, alliance, or military campaign was meticulously planned. Their influence extended into politics. Kings consulted the Templars for strategy, popes relied on their loyalty, and nobles feared their power. The Templars often acted as mediators, advisors, and financiers in disputes between monarchs. In many ways, they were the invisible hand shaping medieval European politics. But the Templars were not content with merely influencing kings. They sought to control the battlefield. Their reputation as fierce warriors grew during the Crusades. In battles at Acre, Ascalon, and Montjassard, Templar knights, clad in white mantles marked with the Red Cross, charged with unyielding discipline. Horses thundered across the plains, lances struck with precision, and archers covered flanks with deadly accuracy. Pilgrims and chroniclers alike wrote of their courage, discipline, and unwavering loyalty to the order's secret mission. Behind every battle was a calculated strategy. The Templars understood the value of intelligence. Scouts reported enemy movements, hidden maps detailed terrain, and secret signals coordinated attacks. No other order combined faith, military skill, and strategy so effectively. Their rise, however, did not go unnoticed. Other military orders, jealous nobles, and even rival factions within the church began to question the Templars' growing power. Rumors circulated. Men of God who held immense wealth, secret knowledge, and the ability to influence kings. Some whispered of the Holy Grail, others of hidden maps to treasures and relics. The aura of mystery only fueled envy and fear. Meanwhile, the Templars continued to innovate. They introduced early forms of accounting, established preceptories that doubled as training centers and banking offices, and trained their knights in both spiritual and practical disciplines. Their ability to blend piety with pragmatism made them unmatched. One night, in the quiet halls of the Paris Temple, a council of commanders gathered. Sir Geoffrey, a veteran of the Holy Land, addressed the group. "Our power grows, yet so does the shadow of envy. Remember, it is not only our swords that guard our order, but our knowledge. Every manuscript, every relic, every secret in these vaults is worth more than kingdoms. Protect it, for it is the key to the world we are shaping." His words were prophetic. The Templars' growing wealth and influence would eventually draw the ire of King Philip IV of France, setting the stage for the greatest betrayal in their history. By the end of the 12th century, the Templars were no longer mere knights. They were a network of power, stretching from the heart of Jerusalem to the courts of Paris, London, and Rome. They controlled lands, guarded secrets, and commanded armies. Their influence was invisible yet undeniable, shaping the politics, economy, and spiritual life of medieval Europe. And all the while, beneath their fortresses and in the hidden chambers of the temple, lay the greatest mysteries, coded manuscripts, relics of power, and perhaps the Holy Grail itself. The Templars were not just warriors, they were custodians of a legacy that would outlive kingdoms, popes, and empires, destined to echo through centuries. "The world does not yet understand the power of knowledge," whispered Sir Geoffrey to a young initiate as they descended into the vaults, "but one day it will."
Chapter 3. Guardians of Secrets. While the Templars' power on the battlefield and in politics grew, their true mission remained hidden from the world: the guardianship of secrets older than any kingdom. Fortresses, treasures, and manuscripts were not merely symbols of wealth, they were keys to knowledge that could reshape history itself. Deep within the vaults of the Paris Temple, candles flickered against stone walls lined with scrolls written in Latin, Hebrew, and mysterious ciphers no outsider could read. Only the highest-ranking knights, the commanders and masters, were permitted access. Initiates were blindfolded, sworn to secrecy, and led through a labyrinth of tunnels that symbolized the path to enlightenment and loyalty. "Remember," said Sir Geoffrey, the master of initiates, his voice echoing softly, "the knowledge you guard is more dangerous than any sword. It can elevate kings or destroy them." One of the greatest legends intertwined with the Templars' secret mission was the Holy Grail. While popular imagination depicted it as a cup, historical speculation suggested it was far more. A repository of sacred knowledge, ancient texts, or even mystical symbols capable of unlocking understanding of the universe. According to secret Templar manuscripts, the Grail was said to contain ancient wisdom from civilizations lost to time, mathematical and astronomical knowledge encoded in symbols, prophetic insights about rulers, kingdoms, and the fate of Christendom. The Grail, or what the Templars called the Sanctum Veritas, the sacred truth, was kept under the highest security, its location known only to a select few. Knights who were entrusted with this knowledge underwent rigorous spiritual and intellectual training, blending meditation, cryptography, and martial discipline. Initiation ceremonies were shrouded in mystery. A young knight, chosen for his loyalty and intellect, would descend into a candlelit chamber beneath the fortress. Symbols etched into the stone guided his path, while whispers of ancient languages filled the air. There he swore an oath of eternal secrecy, a promise that transcended life and death. "You are no longer merely a soldier. You are a guardian of truth. Betray it, and your soul will carry the weight for eternity." Templars also collected other relics believed to hold mystical power. Fragments of the true cross, ancient scrolls from Jerusalem's libraries, and sacred artifacts from Egyptian and Babylonian civilizations. These were stored carefully, cataloged in ciphers, and hidden behind secret doors known only to the commanders. The knowledge the Templars amassed had practical applications as well. Maps detailed hidden routes, tunnels, and strategic positions across Europe and the Holy Land. Codes protected messages and treasures from those deemed unworthy. They were pioneers of intelligence gathering, blending esoteric knowledge with practical strategy. In one instance, a Templar convoy carrying precious relics and manuscripts from Jerusalem to France was ambushed. While ordinary soldiers fled, the knights followed encoded maps using hidden mountain paths unknown to local bandits. They delivered their cargo safely to Paris, further cementing the reputation of the order as invincible protectors of sacred knowledge. Whispers of these secrets spread quietly across Europe. Rumors reached kings, popes, and nobles, men of God who commanded armies, wealth, and knowledge so profound that it could alter the balance of power. These rumors, part truth, part legend, only increased the mystique of the Templars. Yet for all their secrecy, the Templars were not infallible. Their obsession with guarding knowledge sometimes led to internal tension. Young knights struggled to comprehend the magnitude of what they protected. Some sought forbidden knowledge, attempting to decipher cryptic codes before earning permission. Others questioned the morality of hoarding such power. Each breach of discipline was met with rigorous training or severe punishment, ensuring that the order's integrity remained intact. One of the most famous Templar relics, the Shroud of St. Anne, as described in hidden manuscripts, was said to contain cryptic symbols that, when interpreted correctly, revealed a map to the Grail's location. Knights spent years studying its inscriptions, combining astronomy, geometry, and spiritual insight to decode its secrets. Many believed that those who could unlock it would hold the key to unimaginable power. Despite these secrets, the Templars remained outwardly devoted to their public duties, protecting pilgrims, maintaining fortresses, and assisting in holy wars. This duality, visible valor and hidden knowledge, defined the order. It allowed them to operate in plain sight, while their most valuable treasures remained concealed from the world. By the end of the 12th century, the Templars had perfected their system, a combination of military prowess, financial innovation, and guardianship of secrets. Their influence spanned continents, yet few understood the depth of their mission. Those who glimpsed it through manuscripts, coded symbols, or whispered legends recognized a force unlike any other, one capable of shaping history from the shadows. And so the Templars continued their eternal vigil, guarding the Sanctum Veritas and other sacred relics, passing knowledge from master to initiate, generation to generation. The legacy of their secrets would outlive kings, wars, and empires, creating a story of mystery, power, and intrigue that still captivates the world centuries later. "Knowledge is the greatest weapon," Sir Geoffrey whispered to a newly initiated knight, "and we are its guardians. Never forget, what we protect today may decide the fate of the world tomorrow."
Chapter 4: Political Influence and Warfare. By the early 13th century, the Knights Templar were no longer merely guardians of pilgrims and relics. They were a political and military powerhouse, their influence stretching from Jerusalem to Paris, London, and beyond. Their white mantles adorned with the Crimson Cross became a symbol of unwavering faith and tactical superiority. The Crusades provided the Templars with opportunities to demonstrate both military skill and strategic ingenuity. At the Battle of Montgisard in 177, a young Templar knight named Sir Arnaud de Villeneuve rode alongside King Baldwin IV of Jerusalem. Outnumbered nearly 3-1, the Templars executed a precise flanking maneuver, striking fear into the army of Saladin himself. Chroniclers wrote of their discipline and courage, often describing the Templars as almost supernatural warriors, whose loyalty and training made them unbeatable. But the Templars' influence extended beyond the battlefield. Kings and nobles increasingly relied on the order for counsel, finance, and intelligence. European monarchs turned to the Templars to administer lands, manage tax revenues, and even mediate political disputes. Their fortresses served as both military strongholds and centers of governance, giving them authority that rivaled many rulers. In England, the Templars oversaw estates, collected revenues, and funded armies. In France, they advised kings on military campaigns and financial strategies. In Jerusalem, they controlled strategic castles along pilgrimage routes, often acting as both protectors and political arbiters. They were both feared and respected, a combination that bred admiration and envy. The Order's military campaigns were always intertwined with their secret mission. Knights carried letters and relics, guarded manuscripts, and mapped territories rich with resources or mystical significance. Strategic decisions were often guided by information obtained through espionage and intelligence networks the Templars had established across Europe and the Middle East. Their fortresses were not mere castles. They were hubs of strategy, knowledge, and control. One of the most pivotal moments came during the Siege of Acre, 1291,
where the Templars fought desperately to defend the last Christian stronghold in the Holy Land. Though ultimately defeated, their conduct during the siege became legendary. Knights held gates, repelled repeated attacks, and ensured that as many civilians and relics as possible escaped. They left the battlefield with honor intact, though the loss of Acre marked the beginning of the end of Templar influence in the Holy Land. While their military exploits solidified their reputation, it also drew the attention of kings and nobles wary of their growing power. The Templars' wealth, influence, and independence made them a threat to any ruler who desired absolute control. Whispers spread through the courts of Europe, men of faith who controlled armies, gold, and secrets beyond comprehension. Some feared them, others coveted their treasures. King Philip IV of France, known as Philip the Fair, became one of their most dangerous adversaries. Deeply indebted to the Templars and envious of their wealth, he began plotting to bring the order under his control or destroy it entirely. Philip's advisors fed him tales of heresy, blasphemy, and scandal, painting the Templars as a shadowy threat to the crown. Rumors included initiation rituals that allegedly involved idol worship, secret oaths, and desecration, claims almost certainly fabricated, but effective in turning public opinion. Even the papacy, reliant on Templar funds, was pressured. Pope Clement V, a politically astute but weak-willed pontiff, faced immense pressure from Philip. The stage was set for a betrayal that would shake Europe. A king who feared the Templars' independence, a pope who could not resist royal demands, and an order whose secrets had made them too powerful to ignore. Yet despite the growing danger, the Templars remained committed to their mission. In fortified chambers across Europe, knights continued to guard the Sanctum Veritas, study sacred relics, and prepare for eventual confrontation. Their loyalty to one another and to the knowledge they protected remained unbroken. In private councils, Grand Master Jacques de Molay warned his commanders, "The storms are gathering. We have fought battles with swords, but now we face a war of lies, envy, and betrayal. Trust no man outside our order. Protect our secrets at all costs." This dual life, visible warriors, invisible guardians, defined the Templars. On the surface, they were knights fighting in holy wars, administering lands and advising kings. Beneath, they were scholars, strategists, and custodians of knowledge that could destabilize empires if misused. Their influence, however, also made them targets. Allies became enemies, debts bred resentment, and secrecy fueled suspicion. The seeds of betrayal had been sown. By the turn of the 14th century, the Templars would face their greatest challenge, a coordinated effort by a king and pope to destroy the order, seize their wealth, and bury their secrets forever. But even in the shadow of impending doom, the Templars remained resolute. Fortresses were strengthened, treasures hidden, and manuscripts encoded in ever more complex ciphers. Knights trained in both martial and intellectual disciplines, preparing for a confrontation that would not just test their swords, but their loyalty, faith, and the secrets they had sworn to protect. Remember, Jacques de Molay reminded his council, we are not only soldiers, we are custodians of truth, and truth cannot be destroyed by kings, popes, or armies. It will endure as long as we remain faithful. The Templars' rise had been meteoric, their influence unmatched, and their enemies countless. What they could not know, however, was that the very power that made them extraordinary also marked them for annihilation. A calculated purge that would begin on a fateful Friday the 13th in October of 1307.
Chapter 5. The Downfall. The dawn of Friday, October 13th, 1307,
began like any other day in France, yet it would mark a turning point that would echo through history. Across the kingdom, in castles and towns where Templars had long administered lands, trained knights and guarded secrets, men were arrested in the dead of night. King Philip IV, known as Philip the Fair, had orchestrated the arrests. Deeply indebted to the order, he feared their independence, their wealth, and their influence. For months he had spread rumors of heresy, corruption, and blasphemy, claims carefully crafted to turn both the public and the clergy against the Templars. Philip's agents struck swiftly, catching knights unprepared, detaining thousands across France. In Paris, the Grand Master, Jacques de Molay, aged but still commanding, was roused from his chamber by armed men. The sight of soldiers bearing the king's seal shocked no one in the order. They had long known their power invited envy, but nothing could have prepared them for the scale of the betrayal. "I am not guilty of the crimes you accuse me of," de Molay declared, standing before the king's officials. "We have served God and safeguarded knowledge, wealth, and lives. You seek to destroy us for fear and greed." Despite his protests, de Molay and other knights were imprisoned, tortured for confessions, and forced to admit to acts of heresy and blasphemy. Chroniclers noted the brutality. Knights were subjected to beatings, starvation, and psychological torment designed to break their spirit. Yet many, including de Molay, refused to betray the secrets they had sworn to protect. The trials were a carefully staged spectacle. Pope Clement V, under Philip's immense pressure, reluctantly sanctioned inquiries, lending an air of religious legitimacy to the purge. The Templars' enemies painted them as heretics, idol worshippers, and conspirators, a shocking distortion of truth. "You may strip us of our lands, our wealth, our lives, but you cannot destroy the legacy we guard. It will survive beyond your tyranny," de Molay told his captors. As the arrests spread across Europe, some Templars fled, taking with them manuscripts, relics, and treasure. Others remained in secret, continuing their mission underground. These survivors would ensure that the Sanctum Veritas, the order's greatest secrets, were never fully captured by the king's agents. Jacques de Molay's final moments were legendary. On March 18, 1314, he was led to the Île de la Cité in Paris. Flames rose from the pyre as the Grand Master, bound but resolute, reportedly cursed King Philip and Pope Clement, declaring, "May God and his vengeance strike you both. Within a year you shall join us before the judgment of heaven." Within months, both Philip IV and Clement V had died under mysterious circumstances, fueling speculation that de Molay's curse had been fulfilled. The dramatic execution only added to the Templars' legend, casting them as martyrs who had refused to betray their sacred mission even in the face of death. The purge accomplished much for Philip. The Templars' wealth was seized, their castles confiscated, and the order officially dissolved by papal decree in 1312. Yet the greatest treasures, manuscripts, and secrets were never recovered. Many had been hidden in remote fortresses, tunnels, and secret vaults, their locations known only to the surviving knights. Stories spread of Templar treasures buried in the hills of Scotland, secret manuscripts hidden in Portugal, and relics transported to the Americas centuries before Columbus. The order's survival was a testament to their foresight. While their public existence had ended, their mission endured in secrecy. The downfall of the Templars marked not just a political purge, but a clash between fear,
power and knowledge. Kings and popes may have destroyed the order outwardly, but they could not eradicate the legacy, the intelligence networks, and the secrets that had been meticulously protected for nearly 2 centuries. Even today, historians, treasure hunters, and conspiracy theorists debate the fate of the Templars' hidden wealth and knowledge. Some claim that secret codes in cathedrals, manuscripts, and monuments still point to undiscovered caches. Others believe that the Holy Grail, or the Sanctum Veritas, remains hidden, waiting for those who possess the wisdom and courage to uncover it. The Templars' fall became a legend in itself, a story of betrayal, courage, and enduring mystery. Their enemies may have won the battle, but the war of knowledge and secrets they fought continued, unseen, shaping history in ways few could comprehend. "Though we may burn," whispers from surviving Templars reportedly said, "our truth will endure. Secrets guarded with faith are stronger than any king's power." And so the Templars entered the realm of myth. Their castles, treasures, and knowledge vanished from public view, yet their influence persisted, hidden in plain sight, encoded in architecture, manuscripts, and secret societies that traced their lineage across Europe and, eventually, the New World.
Chapter 6. Escape and Survival. The flames that consumed Jacques de Molay in 1314 did not mark the end of the Knights Templar. Though their order was officially dissolved, its members, treasures, and secrets survived, hidden in shadows, carried across borders, and preserved through the most loyal of knights. Some Templars fled to Scotland, finding refuge among sympathetic nobles. In these remote highlands, they established secret strongholds and passed their knowledge to select initiates. Many historians believe that the Templars' escape to Scotland directly influenced the formation of the Freemasons, an organization that inherited the order's rituals, symbols, and esoteric teachings. Stone carvings in old castles and secret lodges hint at Templar influence encoded in symbols only the initiated could interpret. In Portugal, surviving Templars merged with local military orders, including the Order of Christ. Here, they continued to safeguard manuscripts, relics, and maps of strategic significance. Portugal's rise as a maritime power in the 15th century was influenced, some claim, by Templar knowledge of navigation, astronomy, and hidden trade routes. Some scholars speculate that explorers like Prince Henry the Navigator may have had access to Templar maps and star charts that guided early voyages to Africa and beyond. In Spain, the Templars integrated with other military orders and continued guarding relics from the Holy Land. They used monasteries, castles, and cathedrals as secret repositories. Hidden chambers, underground tunnels, and coded manuscripts ensured that even inquisitive eyes could not decipher their treasures. Perhaps the most enduring legend concerns the Templars' journey to the New World. While evidence is scarce, some historians suggest that a few knights sailed west centuries before Columbus, carrying with them artifacts, manuscripts, and cryptic knowledge. According to secretive accounts preserved in European archives, these Templars believed that distant lands could serve as refuges for the order's treasures and secrets. The Templar survival relied on discipline, loyalty, and secrecy. Each knight understood the gravity of betrayal. Any disclosure of knowledge could endanger lives, kingdoms, or the order itself. Vaults were hidden in remote castles. Manuscripts were encoded with intricate ciphers, and relics were buried in locations known only to trusted initiates. Even ordinary Templars played a role. They blended into society, working as merchants, scholars, or clergy, while maintaining clandestine contact with former comrades.
Networks of safe houses, coded letters, and secret signals enabled the order to operate underground, preserving its mission across generations. One legend tells of a Tudor-era Scottish noble, a secret Templar descendant, who carried a small chest of relics and manuscripts across the Highlands. By firelight, he meticulously transcribed ancient symbols into new manuscripts, ensuring the Sanctum Veritas and other sacred knowledge would survive for centuries. Each line of writing was a safeguard, a key for future generations to decipher when the time was right. In Portugal, the Templars' integration with the Order of Christ allowed them to influence maritime exploration. Maps encoded with secret knowledge of winds, tides, and navigation routes were used to guide ships along uncharted coasts. Some speculate that treasures from the Holy Land were transported across the Atlantic, hidden in fortresses on remote islands or secret enclaves along the coast. By the late 14th century, the Templars' influence had shifted from overt military and political power to hidden guardianship of knowledge. They were scholars, architects, navigators, and cryptographers, operating silently within European society. Their symbols appeared in cathedrals, castles, and churches, encrypted in stone and wood, guiding those initiated into the secrets of geometry, astronomy, and secret philosophy. Even today, vestiges of their survival can be traced. Secret societies, coded inscriptions in cathedrals, and legends of hidden treasures suggest that the Templars' mission never truly ended. Their knowledge, carefully preserved and passed down through generations, shaped not only the medieval world, but the foundations of modern science, navigation, and finance. The Templars had transformed from an overt military order to an invisible network of guardians, strategists, and scholars. Though kings and popes had destroyed their order on paper, they had failed to destroy the knowledge, courage, and secrecy that defined the Templars. "Even in shadows we endure," whispers from surviving knights reportedly said, "for knowledge, once entrusted, is eternal." The escape and survival of the Templars ensured that their secrets, relics, and knowledge continued to influence the world, from the hidden vaults of Europe to the voyages across the oceans, and from clandestine lodges to the whispers of modern historians.
Chapter 7: Esoteric Knowledge and Mysticism. The Knights Templar were not merely warriors and bankers, they were keepers of arcane knowledge, a wisdom older than Christendom itself. Beneath the banners of the cross and the white mantles lay a profound understanding of geometry, astronomy, alchemy, and sacred symbolism. Their secrets were encoded in stone, parchment, and ritual, accessible only to those initiated into the inner sanctum of the order. In the heart of Paris, beneath the temple complex, manuscripts filled with complex diagrams, star charts, and geometric figures lay hidden from the world. Only the commanders and masters could interpret these symbols, which encoded astronomical knowledge, celestial alignments, and sacred measurements that hinted at divine order. "Everything in creation is a symbol," Sir Geoffrey once told an initiate, tracing a circle inscribed with intersecting triangles. "To understand geometry is to understand the universe. The stars, the temples, even our very souls, they are all connected by patterns. Study them, and you unlock truths beyond comprehension." Sacred geometry was not merely philosophical, it was practical. Templars applied it in construction, fortifications, and secret vaults. Cathedrals, castles, and even the layout of cities reflected their knowledge. Constructions like the Temple of Paris, Gothic cathedrals in France, and fortresses in the Holy Land incorporated proportions, angles, and alignments that mirrored celestial bodies, creating both spiritual resonance and defensive advantage.
Astronomy, too, played a crucial role. Templars studied the movement of stars and planets, using them for navigation, timing military campaigns, and predicting tides and seasons. Some scholars argue that their knowledge of the stars influenced explorers like Columbus, guiding voyages across the Atlantic centuries later. Maps, encoded with Templar symbols, may have provided early indications of unknown lands and hidden treasures. Alchemy and mystical practices were another dimension of their expertise. While not mystical in the modern fantasy sense, the Templars practiced early forms of chemistry, metallurgy, and preservation. They experimented with medicinal compounds, inks for manuscripts, and even metals to protect treasures and relics. Alchemical symbols often overlapped with sacred geometry, encoding knowledge that was both practical and spiritual. Initiation rituals were designed to cultivate both intellect and spirit. A young knight would meditate on geometric symbols, study star charts, and interpret coded manuscripts. They were trained to perceive patterns where others saw only chaos, to decode messages that could decide the outcome of wars, and to recognize sacred knowledge disguised in plain sight. Perhaps the most enigmatic of Templar secrets were encoded manuscripts and maps. Ancient scripts, astrological alignments, and symbolic diagrams were layered to prevent outsiders from understanding. Only those who had completed rigorous training could unlock their meaning. Some documents hinted at the location of relics, treasures, or even the Holy Grail, while others preserved philosophical and scientific knowledge lost to the world. In Spain and Portugal, surviving Templars continued to study and preserve this knowledge. Secret lodges taught navigation, astronomy, and sacred geometry to trusted disciples. These teachings would later influence explorers, architects, and scholars, ensuring that Templar wisdom subtly shaped history even as the order itself vanished from public view. Stone carvings, cathedral rose windows, and cryptic inscriptions throughout Europe are believed to contain hidden messages left by the Templars. Many of these symbols, interlocking triangles, pentagrams, and circles, encode mathematical ratios, celestial alignments, and philosophical truths. Only those initiated into the Order's mysteries could fully interpret them. The Templars' esoteric knowledge also extended to sacred relics. Objects like the Shroud of St. Anne, fragments of the True Cross, and encoded maps were believed to carry not only spiritual significance but practical instructions: how to navigate the world, interpret celestial events, or safeguard treasure. Knowledge and faith were inseparable, forming the foundation of the Order's enduring power. Even in exile, this wisdom guided the surviving Templars. In remote Scottish castles, Portuguese monasteries, and secret lodges in Spain, knights continued their study. They recorded symbols, traced constellations, and preserved manuscripts. Knowledge became the weapon that outlasted armies and kings, a silent influence shaping exploration, architecture, and science for centuries. Some legends suggest that the Templars' esoteric knowledge led them to secret knowledge of the New World, encoded in maps and manuscripts carried across the Atlantic. Others believe that certain European cathedrals hide star charts and geometric clues pointing to treasures buried centuries ago. Whether myth or reality, the aura of mystery surrounding their knowledge fueled centuries of fascination, speculation, and treasure hunts. In the final analysis, the Templars were more than knights. They were scholars, scientists, strategists, and custodians of a mystical wisdom that blended faith, geometry, and knowledge of the universe. Their secret legacy lived on, quietly influencing kings, explorers, and architects, shaping the world from the shadows. Those who understand the universe's patterns, Sir Geoffrey once told his initiates, hold the power to shape destiny. Guard this knowledge well, for it is both a weapon and a gift.
Chapter 8: Legacy and Modern Impact. Though the Templars were officially dissolved in the early 14th century, their legacy was far from extinguished. The Order's most valuable assets, its knowledge, codes, relics, and manuscripts, had been carefully hidden, smuggled, or entrusted to loyal allies. Centuries later, their influence could still be traced across Europe and beyond, often in ways invisible to the uninitiated. One of the clearest threads of Templar legacy lies in finance. The Order's early banking system, which allowed pilgrims to deposit money in one location and withdraw it in another, became the precursor to modern banking practices. Letters of credit, secure transfers, and sophisticated accounting were innovations the Templars pioneered. Historians argue that European financial systems, including early central banks, were shaped by Templar methods of safeguarding and transferring wealth. Templar influence also persisted in secret societies. The surviving Knights of Scotland, Spain, and Portugal passed their knowledge, rituals, and symbols to organizations that would evolve into the Freemasons and other esoteric groups. The pentagrams, interlocking triangles, coded inscriptions, and initiation rituals seen in Masonic lodges mirror the Templars' practices centuries earlier. These groups preserved a hidden philosophical and mystical tradition rooted in Templar wisdom. Architecture, too, bears silent witness to their legacy. Gothic cathedrals, churches, and castles across Europe were built with proportions, alignments, and symbols derived from Templar knowledge of sacred geometry and astronomy. Rose windows, spiral staircases, and cryptic carvings often encoded celestial patterns and ratios intended to convey spiritual and cosmic understanding to the initiated. The Templars' impact extended into exploration and discovery. Their knowledge of navigation, astronomy, and trade routes was likely transmitted to Portuguese and Spanish navigators in the 15th century. Prince Henry the Navigator, Christopher Columbus, and other explorers may have benefited from maps, star charts, and encoded directions handed down from Templar survivors. Some legends even suggest that Templar relics or treasures were secretly transported to the New World centuries before European colonization. Perhaps the most enduring aspect of the Templar legacy is the mystery surrounding their treasures and secrets. Across Europe, historians, treasure hunters, and conspiracy theorists have searched for lost Templar gold, sacred relics, and manuscripts. Some claim that hidden vaults exist beneath cathedrals, castles, and remote monasteries, containing knowledge powerful enough to change the course of history. Others believe the Templars safeguarded the Holy Grail or other sacred artifacts, transporting them in secret to safe locations far from inquisitive eyes. Their story also left an imprint on culture and mythology. From novels to films, the Templars' combination of martial prowess, secret knowledge, and mystical artifacts has captured imaginations worldwide. While some accounts exaggerate or fictionalize their exploits, the kernel of truth remains: a medieval order that blended faith, intellect, strategy, and secrecy in ways that shaped history and inspired legends. Even modern finance, intelligence, and governance bear subtle echoes of Templar influence. Their methods of secure communication, record-keeping, and financial control prefigured techniques later used by governments, banks, and trade networks. The Templars' ability to operate in plain sight while safeguarding secrets remains a model for intelligence organizations centuries later. Some historians argue that Templar ideals, discipline, loyalty, secrecy, and strategic thinking continued to influence European politics long after the Order's fall.
knights who had survived the purge integrated into noble families, advising monarchs, financing trade, and subtly guiding political decisions. In this way, the Templars' mission endured, hidden in society rather than in the formal order. Legends of their hidden treasures continue to captivate adventurers and scholars alike. The Sanctum Veritas, believed to contain the deepest secrets of the Templars, has never been found, and some suggest it may remain hidden, guarded by descendants of the Order, secret societies, or cleverly disguised vaults. Modern treasure hunters still search for encoded maps, manuscripts, and symbols scattered across Europe, convinced that some pieces of the Templar puzzle remain undiscovered. The Templars' legacy is not merely historical. It is a living narrative of courage, intellect, and secrecy. Their influence continues to echo in architecture, finance, exploration, secret societies, and the imagination of storytellers worldwide. While their castles have crumbled and their order officially ended, the Templars endure in the hidden patterns of history, awaiting those who can read the symbols, decode the manuscripts, and understand the wisdom they preserved. The Templars have vanished from sight, a whispered legend declares, but not from time. Their truth endures, hidden in shadow and symbol, awaiting those worthy to find it.
Chapter 9. Modern Myths and Rediscovery. Centuries after the last Templar had faced the flames of Paris, the world began to notice strange symbols, mysterious inscriptions, and hidden relics, clues to a legacy that refused to fade. From the Gothic cathedrals of Europe to secretive lodges and forgotten castles, traces of the Templars' influence persisted, tantalizing historians, archaeologists, and treasure hunters alike. In France, the ruins of the Temple of Paris still harbor secrets. Beneath its stone foundations, some researchers have claimed to find hidden chambers, coded inscriptions, and unexplained tunnels. While many skeptics dismiss these discoveries as folklore, enthusiasts argue that the Sanctum Veritas, the ultimate repository of Templar knowledge, may still lie undiscovered beneath the city. In Scotland, the Order of Christ retained Templar manuscripts and relics, many of which were used to guide maritime exploration. Some scholars argue that early voyages across the Atlantic, including those of Christopher Columbus, relied on encoded maps derived from Templar sources. Navigational charts, annotated with mysterious symbols, hint at knowledge of lands not yet mapped in European records. Legends of hidden treasure continue to fuel adventures worldwide. Some believe that Templar gold, sacred relics, and priceless manuscripts were transported to remote locations across Europe, the Mediterranean, and even the Americas. Treasure hunters meticulously examine old maps, architectural layouts, and coded manuscripts, searching for clues left by the Templars centuries ago. The Templars' influence on architecture also remains a subject of fascination. Gothic cathedrals, abbeys, and even rural churches contain patterns and inscriptions believed to encode sacred geometry, astronomical alignments, and hidden knowledge. Rose windows, spiral staircases, and cryptic stone carvings often align with celestial events, suggesting that their creators understood the cosmos in ways that continue to amaze modern scholars. In modern times, technology has opened new avenues for rediscovery. Ground-penetrating radar, 3D scanning, and digital reconstruction have revealed previously unknown chambers beneath medieval sites. Some archaeologists claim to have discovered hidden vaults, mysterious inscriptions, and Templar symbols buried under cathedrals and castles. While definitive proof remains elusive, these findings fuel the enduring mystique of the order. The Templar story has also inspired popular culture, from novels and films to conspiracy theories.
Works like the Da Vinci Code and countless documentaries explore the Order's hidden treasures, sacred relics, and the enigmatic Grail. While dramatized, these stories draw upon kernels of historical truth, the Templars' unparalleled discipline, secret knowledge, and clandestine survival. Some modern researchers argue that the Templars' greatest treasure was never gold or relics, but knowledge itself. The mastery of finance, military strategy, sacred geometry, astronomy, and coded communication. This knowledge, carefully transmitted through secret societies, manuscripts, and symbolic architecture, influenced European politics, exploration, and even science for centuries after the Order's suppression. Contemporary treasure hunters and historians continued to pursue the Templar legacy. In France, Scotland, Portugal, and Spain, coded inscriptions, secret tunnels, and cryptic maps are being analyzed for clues. Some allege that hidden manuscripts contain encrypted directions to ancient relics or buried wealth. Others suggest that the Templars left a blueprint for understanding the universe, encoded in symbols accessible only to those with the knowledge to interpret them. The allure of the Templars lies in the intersection of history, mystery, and legend. They were more than knights. They were scholars, strategists, and guardians of knowledge that transcended time. Though centuries have passed since their dissolution, the Templar secrets continue to captivate modern imagination, driving searches, research, and speculation around the globe. The past is never dead, a modern historian might say while examining a hidden Templar inscription. It is merely waiting to be decoded, and the Templars left plenty to discover. In every ruined fortress, cathedral window, and forgotten manuscript, there lies the whisper of a knight's oath, the echo of a hidden vault, and the promise of knowledge that could reshape understanding if uncovered today. The Templars may have disappeared from history books, but their legacy endures, a silent force shaping the world in shadows, waiting for those bold enough to uncover it.
Chapter 10. The Eternal Legacy. The Knights Templar vanished from official record centuries ago, yet their presence remains etched into the world in ways subtle and profound. They were more than warriors. They were scholars, guardians, strategists, and custodians of knowledge, and their influence continues to ripple through history, culture, and society. From the battlefields of the Crusades to the secret chambers of European fortresses, the Templars mastered the art of duality, public service, and private guardianship. They fought wars with sword and strategy, built fortresses with geometric precision, safeguarded relics of immense spiritual significance, and encoded knowledge that transcended time. Their reach was unparalleled, their intellect unmatched, and their secrecy absolute. Even in the face of betrayal, torture, and execution, the Templars' mission endured. Jacques de Malay's defiance on the pyre in Paris became a symbol of courage and conviction. Surviving knights carried manuscripts, relics, and treasures across borders to Scotland, Portugal, and Spain, ensuring that the Order's secrets would survive long after the banners had fallen. These survivors adapted, blending into society while preserving esoteric knowledge. In secret lodges and monasteries, they passed on wisdom of sacred geometry, astronomy, navigation, and coded communication. They influenced explorers, architects, and scholars, subtly shaping the trajectory of European history and exploration. Their methods became embedded in financial systems, political strategy, and even the foundations of secret societies like the Freemasons. The legends that surround the Templars, the Holy Grail, hidden treasure, cryptic manuscripts, and encoded architecture are more than myth.
They represent a civilization's attempt to safeguard knowledge from corruption, greed, and disruption. The allure of these secrets captivates historians, adventurers, and enthusiasts even today, drawing them into a world where history and mystery intertwine. Modern rediscoveries, hidden chambers beneath cathedrals, coded inscriptions on Gothic windows, and mysterious maps serve as reminders that the Templars' legacy is alive. The search for the Sanctum Veritas continues to inspire intrigue, scholarship, and adventure, revealing a timeless truth. Knowledge, once entrusted, cannot be easily destroyed. The Templars' story also serves as a cautionary tale about power, greed, and envy. Kings and popes sought to annihilate the order, fearing its independence and wealth. Yet even in destruction, the Templars' wisdom, courage, and discipline endured, proving that ideas and knowledge can outlast empires and dynasties. Perhaps the greatest testament to their legacy is the way the Templars continue to inspire. In literature, film, art, and academic study, they remain a symbol of valor, mystery, and intellectual mastery. Their narrative bridges medieval history and modern curiosity, blending adventure, spirituality, and intellect in a way few historical orders have ever achieved. The Templar secrets, hidden in stone, parchment, and ritual, whisper across centuries, inviting those daring enough to seek them out. Their treasures may remain undiscovered, their manuscripts only partially decoded, yet their influence is undeniable in finance, architecture, exploration, and the hidden traditions of secret societies. The story of the Knights Templar is, at its core, a story of eternal vigilance, courage in the face of adversity, and the pursuit of knowledge. Their swords may have fallen silent, but the legacy they forged, the wisdom, the discipline, and the enduring mystery continues to shape the world in ways visible and invisible. In every Gothic arch, every secret lodge, every hidden manuscript, and every whispered legend, the Templars endure. Their mission, once sworn to God and sealed with oaths of secrecy, lives on, a testament to the power of knowledge, the courage of conviction, and the eternal allure of mystery. They may have vanished from history, whispers an old scholar in a hidden library, but they have never vanished from truth. The Knights Templar live wherever secrets are guarded, knowledge is revered, and courage meets wisdom. The legacy of the Templars is not merely a chapter of medieval history. It is a living, breathing narrative, one that continues to challenge, inspire, and captivate the world, reminding us that some mysteries are too powerful to ever be extinguished.